Thank you, Adorned by Chi. Hi, I'm Sky. Welcome to my channel. You've seen it, you've thought about it, heck, you're probably already a part of it. The once socially taboo art of cosplay has thrusted itself into the mainstream. And now you're here, contemplating, perhaps thinking of joining. There's tons of videos on how to cosplay, where to get your stuff, which I will be doing both. I'm not judging at all. But why? Why would you subject yourself willingly to a hobby that is expensive, mind-numbing, and has a community that apparently is in shambles? What are we doing here? Well, if you're thinking about joining the cosplay community, or perhaps you need a little reminder about why you chose to be in it to begin with, I've got some pointers for you. Well, for starters, what is cosplay? Definitions are important, so I'm here to do the research. Let's hack the mainframe. Okay, so I've got the definition right here. Cosplay, the practice of dressing up as a character from a movie, book, or sometimes a video game. Especially one from the Japanese genre of manga or anime. That was a noun. The very aggressive verb version is engage in cosplay. Okay, that was pretty simple, straightforward, but somehow over-encompassing, right? A definition no one would dare even try to police for others, and certainly not the nerds that can empathize with bullying and being otherwise outcasted. I mean, I don't see anyone doing that. That'd be ass. But I digress. The definition certainly lends itself to self-expression in the physical form, which brings me to my first point. You should cosplay if you like fan art. Fan art. Fan art. We belong to a lot of fandoms in the nerd community, whether it was like the books, the movies, or the video games, like the definition suggested. But in cosplay, you are the canvas. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and you enjoy following fandoms so that you can get an abundance of art, so that you can get a holster of different content from that show, that movie, that anime that you love, it only makes sense that you yourself will put on 10 pounds of makeup and work tirelessly to make that art come true. The fact of the matter is, we are diverse. It is not about trying to say that we don't see each other and that we don't see the differences, whether it be in someone's art, and that we have to be so accurate, because that's not really a necessity. Is that we gravitate to things that already have a place in our heart and that are otherwise aesthetically pleasing. Whatever aesthetically pleasing means to you doesn't have to be conventionally attractive. Which is exactly why we need your unique self-expression within the cosplay community. It only makes sense that when you, who does not look like ripped Super Saiyan 4 freaking Goku, which, I'm sorry to use that reference, I know we don't talk about GT, please. This is not particularly humanly possible. What matters is if I see you on Instagram at a convention, I'm gonna squeal because I saw you, because we just had that connection that you also are involved in the same fandom that I'm in. If I see that fan art, they're not Akira Toriyama. They did not write Dragon Ball Z. It's that same self-expression, and when you put that pen to a paper, that stylus to an iPad, that I am excited that somebody else is interested in the same media I am. So if you like fan art, be it. Believe!
Believe in me! Believe in the Kamina who believes in you!
There's so many ways you can articulate and style your costume to make it whatever you want, which is why fashion is one of my reasons I got into cosplay. And I know you see me. I know you look at me, and you're like, that goober? She thinks she can dress? Well, I know I can. Different people and mediums heavily impacted my life. I grew up in the 2000s where fashion was vomit and technicolor. Stop it! And I loved it. But television painted the beauties and the geeks of this world to be in totally different lanes. Only, that's quite the contrary. Tons of our most beloved animes draw inspiration right off the runway, and coincidentally, they've begun to use our heroes as muses for their fashion lines. It's only natural for fashionistas to exist within the realm of the geekdom. Whereas you remember a certain character stat, we know that, and that Naoko Takeuchi was inspired by Karl Lagerfeld. Instagram makes it a lot easier to be editorial, and I've since been exposed to things such as Cosplay Realm magazine and cosplay music videos where you can strut your stuff. And if you're someone that's kind of like me, fashion might be one of the reasons why you got into cosplay, or one of the reasons you might want to consider it. Listen, there's a very few that are selected to be the Adonises and the Venuses of the world. They get to be models. They're living their lives, they're jet-setting around, but when you are in cosplay and you book that photo shoot and you set up that camera and those lights, better yet someone requests you, baby, I mean, honestly, I'm 5'2". I'm 5'2". I would not be anything more than possibly commercial modeling at this point. I don't really fall into the fashion world circuit. But I was obsessed with fashion magazines. Not even your typical Vogue or, I guess, Mary Claire. I had Fruits. If you know what Fruits is, comment down below, because I didn't know who also read Fruits growing up. When you cosplay, regardless if it's not so avant-garde, you are the model, okay? And the best thing about this is because we already know that we don't fit into the mold of the fashion industry, that cosplay is intended to be a place free from persecution regardless of your race, your stature, and your ability. You can do whatever you want, but certainly don't think you somehow don't belong in it or otherwise too cool for it. I've seen more fashion at a convention on a Saturday night than I have seen walking around in my own neighborhood, and I live in downtown Orlando. Never mind, scratch that, that's not saying a lot. But as someone who does enjoy the process of getting into costume and styling, you might be so detail-oriented to be interested in the craftsmanship. Being a creative person doesn't mean that your talents have to lie in one particular craft, which is great because cosplay as a hobby will certainly ask you to utilize all of your talents. Maybe some of the ones you haven't even discovered yet. And we all start from somewhere. Say I've nurtured my skill of character design. It doesn't stop there with my innate capabilities. By cosplaying, you open up an entire new skill tree of electronics, editing, painting, and ways to cope, especially before a con. How many people can say, why yes, I chopped that tree down, built a table from its wood, painted it with my bare hands, and yes, I am operating a Gundam? Crafts are a great reason to get into cosplay, not only because are you the model, but now you're the expert welder, building props and character creation. And usually when I'm approached about cosplay, the first thing people will ask me is, oh, how much did that cost? Or how did you do that? How'd you do this? I'm gonna let you guys know right now, Frank Keys helped me on just about almost every costume I've had. If not, maybe like 2 I did on my own, and the others I have commissioned. Which means my entire cosplay career would not be a thing if it wasn't for people like you who actually do the hard work, the research. You guys know how to do foam smithing, possibly special effects makeup, intricate sewing, really sewing at all, because how many people don't know how to sew still? Not me. Keys taught me. But more than that, you guys are basically engineers. You guys are not the ones to freak out when you come across a problem. You're aroused by it. You're willing to go deep in and look at 3D models, even watch the anime or whatever media it is backwards to see how to really fit it in and incorporate it into the costume. You have the obvious craftsmanship points, but can we give some attention to the wig weavers? I feel like wig weave is the same word twice. Never mind. People who slave over trying to make actual gravity-defying wigs, I salute you. That's something I'm trying to perfect for myself, but you can see the condition of this. Oh my God. So, let's give an applause. Give an applause for all the crafters out there. I will be commissioning you. So what, now I've ignited or otherwise reminded you about your love for putting pieces together to perform, but what's your performance without a party? Let me level with you. Okay. I was too damn young. My parents weren't home, and they gave me free reign of the interweb. If you're around my age, then you were probably the first little group to grow up with the internet. But if you were like me, you were on the interwebs doing in-depth text-based role play. You had your Gaia online, you had your big booty bitches on IMVU. Hell, maybe you were at Habbo Hotel, but you were so invested. And if you knew me from those role-playing days, don't turn it off now. Don't contact me. So you left character creation and are being fitted for a character that speaks to you. While it is important to note that we are not your notorious cartoon favorites, and we are in fact human beings beneath the slabs of face paint, cosplaying with a role in mind is a great reason to start dressing up. So assume the position. Role-playing lends itself to the monster that is cosplay by allowing us just for a moment to become our heroes or even original characters. Conventions at times can even feel like one giant chat room once you ran into the people from the same piece of media as you. Although the acting usually stops with your presentation. But hey, if you want to take it a step further, LARPing is always a viable option, and most cons have in-character panels that you can collaborate with, tabletop sessions in the game room, and if you really want to roll the dice, full-blown masquerades where you're able to prance around the stage however you see fit before a panel of judges. You little self-insert. Literally, when people told me TikTok was an app for children, and there are tons of kids on it, don't be weird, I saw that people were self-inserting themselves into music videos that I was doing in my room For free? Listen, I'm seeing people roleplay certain characters and they don't even have the costume. And to me, that fully embodies the spirit, the initial love for cosplay. So when you see a random kid, Junko, posing, I'm old, on your For You page, let them live. Maybe your disgust and initial cringe is that inner child that's been beaten down and told not to run around the room pretending you're Sasuke. Stop it, Uchiha. But for me, it's one of the main reasons why I would implore you to explore cosplay. I mean, literally, you can't roleplay or cosplay without the word play. And how are you gonna play if you ain't got no friends? Your favorite gang from your beloved movie or television series tend to have varying backgrounds. And oftentimes, these backgrounds can make an odd pair. But despite these differences, they've joined forces in pursuit of their shared vision. I like to think two nerds meeting at a bacon-wrapped hot dog stand gives that exact same intensity. Let's face it, nerds aren't always presented to be the most popular. In fact, we're usually deemed to be socially inept when we're ranting about our niche interests. But within the cosplay community, going to a rave not to dance, but to circle around the one guy who's doing the worm is where bonds are born. Social media has also closed the gap as we search for camaraderie, and cosplay is just used as an icebreaker. You should cosplay because you want to make friends. Okay, this is a little maybe polarizing point of view. So a little context. I have moved a lot my entire life, and so playing pretend, dressing up by myself was something I would do all the time, which is why it's so easy to talk to this camera in my room by myself. I'm basically pretending to be a YouTuber right now, so it's good. My mental, okay. But I honestly have met so many amazing people through the con circuit. Heck, I met my cousin. If her and I were not being our most authentic selves while pretending to be other people, I probably would not have ever connected with her. And this is not like some far off fifth cousin, twice removed, has a wart. Like, we're pretty close. But I say this to prove a point that you could possibly have a deep connection with a multitude of people out there once you are your most authentic self. When you dare to be kind of cringy, when you choose to be yourself, it sends off a signal. Some people might be weirded out with it because they don't vibe with you, but let me tell you what, you are also going to send a signal to the people that love you. And yes, sometimes your light attracts people who are going to be jealous, who are going to be mean, who are going to pretend to be your friend. But that's kind of a thing of where you live and you learn, and has to deal with boundaries and other respect for yourself, which I do not have all the time to get into because I'm still figuring that out. And I know a lot of us are awkward, but there are people out there who are going to match your exact kind of awkward. That's all I'm saying. For me, being in costume and being in cosplay allowed me to get out a big chunk of myself already out of the way. I don't have to introduce myself. You already kind of know where my interests lie. We can skip all of that. Versus when I try to talk to somebody at work or at school and you're not even speaking my language. And like, that can make you feel like an outcast sometimes. Well, I still sometimes kind of feel that way. I know I feel more comfortable in the cosplay community currently. And if we approach people in that same frame of mind, that we don't ever want to be that kid that's being forced to kind of play by themselves because they've been exiled over things they cannot control. I think it would strengthen our community and otherwise strengthen our connections, which thusly would make us make more friends. So whether it's because of varying art mediums, how stylish you are, the power you wield behind a sewing machine, your expert storytelling, or just wanting to belong, this should have convinced you at least trying cosplay. And heck, it's October. What's your excuse? What are you gonna do, make fun of you? They were a taco last year. You should see what drag queens have to go through around this time. Which drag queens cosplay too, and this is my video today on whether or not you should cosplay. If you have any questions, or maybe you're just still a little anxious, feel free to comment below or reach out to me on any of my social media. I'm Sky Spectrum. Thank you for watching.